Greetings everybody, this is TurdMonkey4297 here, and today you guys are going to be witnessing for the first time my unfinished, never released, never before seen on the internet Devil May Cry top 10 weapons list. Keep in mind that this video is quite old. It dates as far back as April back in 2014. So this thing never ever had the opportunity to be released until today. I'm releasing it due to the fact that it's one, New Year's Day, so I'm also celebrating and at the same time embarrassing myself and punishing myself for deleting some videos on accident on hardcoring guides. So now that the Bumblebee thing is gone, for all you who are probably not watching that or don't even care, there you go. Now you know that that's gone, and I'm going to be doing a whole different guide on that channel. But today we're going to be showing you the top 10 Devil May Cry weapons. Keep in mind, it's only made it up to number 5. So, I want you guys to rip this a new one. Don't think that this is the new me. That's why I'm obviously doing this intro. It has been a little bit audio fixed here and there. I have spruced some things up, but for the majority of the video, it is completely old and, you know, past Alex edited, so it's gonna suck. So anyway, folks, without further ado, I will see you when we get to Pinnacle, if you're still watching, or I will see you at the end of this video. Maybe it depends on what you're doing. I don't know. Stay tuned for more. So here it is, Devil May Cry top 10 weapons of all time. For many of you out there who didn't already realize this, I have a soft spot for the Devil May Cry franchise. I enjoyed the main 4 and even really liked the reboot. Too extreme for you? Well, boy, do I have something in store for all you fans out there. Yes, it's been done before, but I am entitled to my own opinion on this. So welcome to my top 10 Devil May Cry weapons list. On this list, I made sure I included at least one weapon from each game so that I could distort better between the franchise's epic games. So, without further stalling, let's get right on into it, shall we? What is there not to say about this weapon? It is a one-handed revolver wielded by Nero himself, and if that is not it, then it's the name itself that brings me great joy. For anyone's information, blue is my favorite color and roses are my favorite flower. Say what you want about it, I don't care. But if I do take some joy in this weapon, why is it so high up my list exactly? Well, it's a little something I like to call gun damage rates decreasing over time over the course of the Devil May Cry series. Yes, you heard me right. When I first played Devil May Cry 4, which, by the way, was my first Devil May Cry I really liked and got into playing, I noticed that the weapons were not as potent as they were in the previous Devil May Cries. Hell, even Dante's Every Ivory got a damage change over the years too. Maybe the reason Capcom made a subtle change was to make focus on the other weapons and maybe help you build combos faster. Well, either way, one thing for sure is the Blue Rose is a little weak until upgraded a bit, then it become more of a decent fire. In the unlikely event that Nero even would return, I would love to see his trusty sidearm a little stronger than this one. I mean, it is a revolver after all, but alas, it is a Devil May Cry universe where usually nothing will or should even make sense. All that aside, another reason I give it more credit is because it has changed the pace for Devil May Cry. It was the first revolver in the series, along with the debut of its own master. In the game, the gun has a 2-shot firing mechanism built right inside, and the design of the weapon is what takes the cake for me. Not to mention the order of the swords. I actually believe firearms to be dishonorable, which kind of is funny considering them letting Nero wield one himself. On a more lighter note, a blue rose cannot occur naturally, and is also a symbol of rarity as well, which is ludicrous again, seeing as it was only debuted in one game of the series, but like I said, it is a part of the Devil May Cry franchise, and has every right to be odd in some way. So after a rigorous fight with the Lightning Witch herself, and upon defeating her, she transforms into a weapon, which many fans of the series already knew that this weapon will be somewhere on this list. She becomes a great Devon, the electric guitar. No, I am serious. The pun was intended, of course. Man, talk about a highly egotistical witch over here. Well, then again, aren't most of the weapons in Devil May Cry 3 named after their owner in some way? Anyway, like I was going to say, Devon is a slightly good weapon for combat purposes. I really like the guitar solo that Dante does when obtaining the weapon too. which does become a fun move to rack up your combo a little faster. If anything, Devon is an alright weapon to use, being the only problem I have with it is its lack of capable moves that come with it and are even upgraded. It is better with the Sword Master ability equipped, allowing Devon to turn into a semi-scythe, giving it a more badass appeal to it. But then actually being used as a weapon, I find myself not using it as much. Again, I use the jam session mostly for my combat needs. Now, for me, I have seen some ridiculous combos of people using this weapon, but for me, I'll just stick to strumming it the old good-fashioned way. You know, every once in a while here and there. You know, to show it off. And don't get me wrong, it is useful, just as we all know why I like it. Take it away, Dante. Well, speaking of shocking events in the Devil May Cry history, we had the very first Devil Trigger capable and pretty much attainable sword in the Devil May Cry franchise, Alistair. What makes Alistair so great, you ask? Well, since you probably didn't, I'll tell you anyway. It's better than the Force Edge, enough said. Nah, for real now. Alistair holds many capabilities such as being upgradable and having Devil Trigger, which also contains many great moves, one of which Devon has too. It is called Air Raid. This is very useful indeed for doing damage. But that's for the Devil Trigger, not necessarily for Alistair, now is it? Another thing that makes this weapon so great is the fact that Dante is stabbed by the thing when he first meets it. This has become somewhat of a running gag, I see. Anyway, Alistair is one melee weapon of the original Devil May Cry that I always make sure I carry around with me. Force Edge is nothing but a cheap plastic toy, and the Sparta Sword has no Devil Trigger capabilities either. Oops, did I make some people angry? Yes, I didn't really like Sparta's Sword as much as the rest of you, okay? Yes, I know it can turn into multiple weapons, but Alistair could do the Stinger. Oh, wait, so can Sparta's. Oh yeah, you guys think you're so tough. What about Air Raid? Oh, goddammit. You put that in there on purpose, didn't you? Oh well, too late to change it back now, I guess. Alistair, everybody. It's good till you get the Sword of Sparta, I guess. With 666 ways to use this bad boy and only 7 possible gameplay moves added to it, Pandora is one exception you cannot be without on your journey. Yes, I remember wielding this bad boy for the first time and wondering how in the hell do you use it? Okay, so it's press square and spin around a couple times and boom, a giant freaking laser beam? What else can this bad boy do? Oh, a bazooka? Oh, what about a... whoa. That's one hell of a weapon. I think I might be getting a little too carried away with this, it seems. As if it wasn't apparent enough, I love guns, especially when they pack a punch. If anything, which to no surprise, Pandora was one of my go-to weapons during my playthroughs. I mean, yeah, it's a bit bulky and does take some time to activate, and there are certain button commands to activate different versions of the weapon. I still think it sure packs some heat. Not to mention, it's kind of sad that only Dante can use it, but it still is his game after all, and he can decide when and how he uses his weapons. It also seems a more likely choice, seeing as he is the only one cleaning up a certain someone's mess all the time, and in doing so he does it in the most over-the-top ways imaginable. I mean, of course it is Dante after all. I mean, why kill demons if you can't do it in style, right? And with pizza. That's just how Dante does it. He kills the giant frog demons, takes possession of Pandora's box itself. Hell, even Kratos had a hard time getting it himself, and Dante just blows the bastards up. There's another point for Dante. Sorry, Kratos, but he was here first. I had to put this weapon on my list for 2 main reasons. Angry fanboys for yelling at me for not having a virtual weapon on here, and the fact I figured I needed a virtual weapon on here. Well, if anything, Virgil isn't the only person who uses it either. But if anything, I agree Virgil is the better wielder for such a sword. If the way he holds and uses it isn't enough for you, then maybe the fact that even he summons swords of his own free will while still looking cool using the Yamato, then you have no soul. Seriously, just look at the way it just dangles there.
Haha! Dangly parts.
Not to mention, he even puts the Force Edge to good use along with it. Yes, the same Force Edge that Dante used, but he quickly stopped using it after the rebellion took its place for good. Back to Virgil praise over here. The Yamato can provide excellent combos due to some difficulty to get down at first, but after playing mostly Virgil for his own campaign in Devil May Cry 3 and in the downloadable content Virgil's Downfall, it becomes apparent that this is a killing machine. I mean, one hit with this weapon will cause any nearby life form to explode. Quite the deadly little monster, isn't it now? On a serious note, the ability to switch to the demon powers and angel powers in Virgil's Downfall definitely give a boost to this weapon's amazing power. As if it wasn't strong enough, it gets heavier hitting combos too. Hell, not to mention the fact that you fight Virgil in Devil May Cry 3 and his own hollow form, which turns out to be more difficult at first than I expected. He is one hell of a nemesis even when Dante isn't around. For God's sakes, the guy is so power hungry, he'll kill anything his way to get what he wants. Okay, I seem to be getting a little carried away with talking about Virgil here, so let's move on to the next weapon, shall we?
Also, did I mention he is the ultimate power base on 3?
Okay. Sheesh. I was just saying, get on my level, son.
You're all satisfied. You are set free.
I am sure by now we all know the exact reason this weapon is even on here in the first place. We also know that I can't possibly like the weapon for killing demons with. We also know that this is the worst introduction to a weapon we have all seen, right? Well, if being sarcastic wasn't enough, then let me explain in very close detail the exact reason one would even love the Lucifer. Besides the overall look of the weapon, it really does handle pretty well in combat. Dante even uses this weapon in a more unique way. He has a coordinated dance routine when he's attacking enemies and will correspond to do so in such a fashion it's just plain fun to watch at the same time. The blades themselves are spawned from this hellish backpack will pierce through enemies and even be capable of being stuck inside until they completely blow up or manually blown up, which of course inflicts even more damage to the demons. Also, upon looking towards Dante's face, he also so happens to even keep the rose in his mouth while fighting, even though we all know this is Dante's usual way of just being, well, Dante. I probably could go on for days about the over-the-top stuff he does, but this is a weapons list, not a character praise, Virgil. If anything, the appeal for me at least does seem to derive from the fact of the design of the weapon, and of course, the way Dante uses it as well. But if looked at closely, the blades themselves seem to have a distinctive look to them too. They kind of look like the darts from Devil May Cry 2. But only just by a little bit. Another little piece of trivia is the name of the moveset Dante's equipped himself with. Mostly named after sexual terms, with usual often include mostly a bondage terms. I guess Dante has a secret that he won't share with the rest of us then. Back on topic here, the Lucifer itself is mostly an offensive weapon which can leave you quite vulnerable to certain attacks. So if you are planning on using this weapon for the most part, try to make sure you watch where you hit because you might just end up getting hurt yourself.